What is going on? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be breaking down Walter Football's way too early 2025 NFL mock draft. If you are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You guys know how to use YouTube. Below my face is my board. It only contains only the positions that I've officially graded, and all those videos are already out, except for a little spoiler of my top 3 edge rushers and where they rank based on the actual grades. Yes, this is reflective of the actual official grades that I have, so it's going to be incomplete, but still going to be, I'm going to be adding wide receivers into it, but it's pretty much every single player that I've graded so far, and we've graded a good amount of them. So wanted to give you guys a little bit of a teaser trailer of that, because it's going to be, this isn't the most novel video idea. It's just a way to be able to show you guys a little bit of my board and then be able to, have some good football discourse. We're going to be streaming tonight as well with Broshmo, so going to be very excited to do that, but we got a whole bunch of new series coming your way very soon. So let's get right into this. Below the board, feel free to take advantage of those sponsors. UnderDog Fantasy, love them. They treat me so well. They have a great platform. They give me money to be able to spend and be able to use on it. And then every time you guys sign up, you can get a free pick. Like, you get a special pick. I mean, I remember I wasted mine on Anthony Richardson in the preseason getting a yard when he didn't play. But, I am 99% of the time, those things end up being a guaranteed win. And then you get a match of up to $250 for free. So feel free to do that. It's at a 50% match rate. So take advantage of that. It sends me $60. But again, it's a great company that actually takes care of me. So I do appreciate them. Yeah, the wife beater's out, but it's also a really sunny day, which means I'm going to be going out and actually not looking like a pale ghost. Might as well. But let's get right into this. Of course, don't get too flustered with the draft order or anything. Like, this is primarily just fun to be able to experience new player to team combinations, as well as talk about some of the new guys that I've been watching, that if you should probably end up watching the player ranking videos anyways, but sometimes it's nice just to do it in more of a fluid format like this. Denver Broncos go Shedeur Sanders at number 1. I highly doubt that they would be in this situation. I really love Bo Nix. Apparently he's been balling out, so again, that's also why I like to do this. We can highlight that. Bo Nix is awesome. Bo Nix was my QB3 behind Jaden Daniels. So call it as it is. I mean, I know that I don't crown myself as a quarterback guru. I still know that I have so much to learn in terms of quarterback evaluation. But, my sixth sense has gotten quite a few guys correct. Like, Brock Purdy was one of my dudes. And, he was above the first quarterback taken in that draft. Well, technically he was right behind Kenny Pickett. So right in that range. So, I mean, I'm not completely useless in quarterback evals, but, at the same time, I do understand that, there's certain people I trust slightly more than myself, but regardless, I do love Bo Nix to death. I don't really love Shedeur. Again, I have my video out on that. He actually moved up an extra spot because I dropped Noah Fafita a little bit after watching some more games of him. I thought that, one of the categories I graded him in, which was ball placement, was a little bit overgraded for him. So he slipped just a little bit. But continuing on, number 2, the Giants go Carson Beck. Beck's a talented quarterback. He's my number 17 player on my board at the moment. I think it'll be 18 or 19 based on the receivers that I'll have above him. But, still a top 32 guy for me, absolutely. Very high floor, pretty low ceiling in my opinion. He's a good athlete, but I don't think he has a plus arm. I do not see this huge arm. I really don't. But he's a very good quarterback. He's a better version of Kenny Pickett in my opinion. But again, it is what it is. The Giants getting Carson Beck, I don't know if that would be a franchise-changing move. The Cardinals then go Drew Allar, who's I think my QB 17. So obviously he's not even QB 3. He's QB 17. Arizona, if they go this route, that would be ridiculous. I don't understand what the thought process would be here. The amount of money that's given to Kyler. Yeah, if they end up at number 3 overall, like, that sucks, but you can't deny the talent of Kyler Murray. You can't deny the talent of Drew Allar either, but Drew Allar hasn't put pen to paper. We all know he has a cannon arm. He's a big dude, over 250 pounds, but he cannot. I mean, there's literally a video of Penn State's talking about throwing dimes. It was him throwing to somebody 10 yards away, and it was off placement. Like, it was to the side of his head rather than where the guy's hands originally were. And I love Penn State. Y'all know this. I'm a Penn State, fanboy. Even though I'm an Ohio State fan, I just ended up falling in love with Penn State players. And so I'm a big fan of Penn State. This would be an obvious mistake. I would give this, if this actually happened in the draft, I'd probably give it an F. Pick number 4, the Patriots go Will Campbell. Will Campbell's a good offensive lineman. I gave him a little bit of a poor grade to start out. But I think he's an offensive guard when all is said and done. His 33-inch arms really have been proving to be a problem versus edge rushers with actual length. So, I do think he could actually be a really high-end plus guard. So he'll probably end up moving up my rankings as well. Right now, the board does not factor him in because I haven't finished up my offensive tackle grades. At pick number 5, the Panthers go Harold Perkins. Super excited to get into the linebacker crew. I debate putting him in with the edge rushers, but because he's primarily played a real linebacker role, it's going to be very difficult for me to have enough tape to put him in the edge group. So when I do my edge video this week, that is not going to be, he's not going to be a part of it, but I will certainly be maybe putting a footnote in there when I do the linebackers and then end up saying where Harold Perkins would rank based on my linebacker evaluation. It's easier to grade a linebacker and then say how he could do as an edge rusher versus grade a linebacker as an edge rusher and then grade him as a linebacker. It just doesn't make very much sense to do double the work for 1.5 times the output. So, we'll be a little bit better efficient with that. Carolina Panthers getting Harold Perkins. I really love Harold from what I've seen. There's not really much that I have an issue with. The next gen AI is apparently here according to Adobe Photoshop, but no, I highly doubt it. But at number 6, the Titans go Quinn Ewers. I love how all the ads are the exact same, by the way. I'm not a fan of Quinn Ewers. Again, you guys can go check out that video. We're going to be actually buying NCAA. We're going to be the idiot who buys the $150 package because it's $100. It's a $70 game. Same thing with Madden 25. They'll be both $70 games. So we're paying $140 anyways. And then you're just basically paying $10 more to get both games 3 days early and get the deluxe stuff. Like for me, and then I don't even have to worry about buying Madden 25 because I'll already have pre-ordered it. It's a business write-off because we're going to be streaming it. So it's going to be a business write-off nonetheless. So thanks to the government for that one. But anywho, Quinn Ewers has gotten the cover of that. He's a talented quarterback. I just think that he's the worst deep ball. And, he's a developmental quarterback to me, not really even a fringe starter. Pick number 7, the Vikings go Travis Hunter. He is my corner 7. I had that video dropped a couple days ago, so check that out. But very high IQ, just needs to be a lot more consistent. His effort on plays varies way too much, and I think that's symptomatic of who his coach is. The Seahawks then go Michael Williams out of Georgia at pick 8. Super excited to grade him. Haven't done that yet, but I'm going to be having 14, I'm pretty sure, 14 or 13 edge rushers in this upcoming video, and Michael is going to be the guy who I'm saving for last. Patrick Payton is somebody who I did grade, though, going to the Saints at pick number 9. Very fun player to watch. There are some concerns over his motor because he is somebody who definitely seemed to be not too happy with Florida State, trying to transfer out of there, ended up yo-yoing back, or boomeranging back, I should say. Regardless, Patrick Payton, his high-end reps are ridiculous. It's just I haven't seen him really be consistent. He is a little bit undersized as of last year, but he ended up putting on some extra weight. I think he's up to 254 right now. So super excited to see what he can bring to the table there. At pick number 10, the Buccaneers go Will Johnson, best player in the draft, arguably best player I've ever graded. This would be an absolute home run for Tampa Bay. Commanders at number 11 go James Pierce. So I have a tweet that ended up going micro viral. It's viral for my Twitter because I shit post, so feel free to go over there. You get to see all 22 tape as well, but it's a rep of James Pierce versus JC Latham. It shows everything that James Pierce can offer but hasn't yet. He did a spoon move right into JC Latham's chest. It's like you have all the tools in your toolkit, but you've just never been taught how to use them properly. I think James Pierce has a very bright future in the NFL, but I don't know if he's a day one starter just yet. If he were to go to the NFL right now, I don't think he would be an NFL starter. So I'm glad to see him slip a little bit. Right now, he's my number 13 player, but technically I do have one player, that wide receiver, who's graded above him, so he's technically 14. At number 12, we got the Chargers going Princely Umanmielen. You can see that as number 15, so technically number 16 right now on my board. Very fun player to watch, a little too inconsistent, but those high-end reps are there, balance incredible. I would love to see him in an environment there with Tuli Tuipulotu as two of those guys who can really bring that impact and pressure on the pocket. Walter Nolan goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 13. Walter Nolan's not a bad player at all. I just think he's very developmental. I could totally see him being a Pittsburgh Steelers pick. If I'm not mistaken, did Walter Nolan not transfer to Ole Miss? Pretty sure he did. So I'm very excited to see what the Steelers could do with Walter Nolan, just not in the first. Ernest Green goes to the Raiders at 14. His tape has been very spotty for me, but I haven't given him a full grade just yet. I just wanted to get a little bit of a taster of that based on the other players that he was playing against, because when I watch edge rushers, I want to make sure they're going not up against a bum. Just hate to say it that way, but sometimes these offensive tackles just are not going to be able to replicate what these guys are going to face in the NFL. So Ernest Green, he's a good guy. He's a good tackle. I just don't really know if the Raiders are going to do that at 14. Because he's not even a right tackle, so I don't really see much of a need for it. The right tackle for Emory Jones, right tackle for LSU, he's a good player. I think that he leans way too forward, but we'll talk about that when I do my tackles video. The Colts then go Ben Morrison. He's my number 2 player in the class and will remain at number 2. Fantastic corner. Again, feel free to check out the corners video for a deeper breakdown. Mason Graham at 16 is perfectly fine value. People think I don't like Mason Graham. I like Mason Graham. He's Lee Drazon Newton with no aura, and that's perfectly fine. That's very suitable. I had Drazon Newton as a 78 grade. He is about like a 72.5, if I'm not mistaken. He's very, very talented. He just gets, he gets moved around way too easily. He does not hold his ground very well, which is surprising for a man of his size. But, certainly a lot of positive reps there for Mason Graham. Very excited to see that. Seriously, we're not going to go to round 2 because this is a bum-ass draft, by the way. We are definitely not going to be taking out ads in this. You can kiss my ass. But Jacksonville Jaguars go Malachi Starks. A good DB to add to the rotation there. He's a fantastic player. There's not really much I would complain about that. I just would want a boundary corner, and this is a good class for it. Browns go TJ Sanders. Have not graded him. Out of all the defensive interiors, I've never seen anybody try to highlight TJ Sanders as a top-end talent, but we'll see. The Rams then go Kelvin Banks. Interesting to see him as a guard. Right now, he's my number 1 graded tackle, but he's still a fringe starter. The Falcons then go Jordan Hancock, cornerback out of Ohio State. I graded 2 other Ohio State cornerbacks. None of them were Jordan Hancock. Never seen that, but that's interesting that they would go after that Ohio State corner over the 2 guys who've been starting. But then we got the Bears going Landon Jackson. He is on here. I just not the biggest fan of Landon Jackson. So he's very unique, and he's a very good athlete for his size, but to me, I just honestly don't give a shit about how good of an athlete you are for your size, because ultimately what matters is your impact on the play. Doesn't matter what size you are, what your face looks like, how big your arms are. If you get to the quarterback, if you disrupt the run, that's what matters. So, usually your body is a part of the tools that you have. And I just don't know if that fully translates. Dolphins go Tyleik Williams. He's going to end up being probably in the top 10 to 15 on my board. Big fan of what he brings to the table. He's right there, right behind Mason Graham. Then we have the New York Jets going Sonny Styles, safety at Ohio State. Have not studied Sonny. He never popped off to me. We'll definitely check it out. But of course, this draft definitely seems kind of bummy to me. Ravens then go Trey Zune. Honestly, literally has never once popped up to me. Texas A&M's offensive line was pretty garbo last year as well. I highly doubt that one of their players will be going in the first round. Texans then go Denzel Burke. I ended up dropping that video on corners. Feel free to check it out. It's my corner number 8, right? He's actually tied with Travis Hunter. Very good corner. This is probably the most balanced corner in this class. You can put him in any situation. He's going to succeed. Then we have the Packers going Danny Stutzman. Big fan of his game last year. Probably would have been my linebacker 1. Well, actually, no. He would have been my linebacker 2 because I ended up really falling in love with Edgerrin Cooper. That would be pretty funny because this is the team that also has Edgerrin Cooper. That's also extremely dumb, in my opinion, for the Packers to go after a linebacker in the first after they just got Edgerrin Cooper and they ended up getting Tyron Hopper. Just does not make sense to me. The Detroit Lions go Antoine Juice Wells, who transferred to Ole Miss from South Carolina. He's a good wide receiver. He was one of those receivers that made me drop other receivers' grades after the catch because I realized what a 12 graded or 12 out of 15, 12.5 out of 15 player should be. Great wide receiver in space. I don't think that it works with the Lions because I think he's pretty much a slot only. Then we have the Bills going Abdul Carter, linebacker out of Penn State. He's going to be transferring to edge this year, so I think the Bills could certainly use somebody who has that versatility. Bengals then go Gentry Williams, another one of those corners who I did not study as one of those top guys, but it's cool to add some cool names in here. It's just not somebody that I've ever seen from anybody who's actually respectable to be able to put him in this range. Then we got the Eagles going Ethan Burke, another name. Like, there's a lot of top end talent that they're kind of dissing right here by not taking them at all. But, at least it's cool to see some good names. Edge rusher is a good position for the Eagles to target this offseason. Niners then go Bear Alexander, fantastic defensive interior that just has personality concerns. Probably could end up being the best player on the defensive line in the class. Then we have the Chiefs at 32. We're not going to round number 2 because this is an absolute garbage draft. But Kansas City Chiefs go Kenneth Grant here. One of those guys who moves freakishly well for 340, but he really moves and then holds his ground the same way a 290-pound player would. So the upside's there, but he really does need to learn to hold his ground a bit better. Great motor, absolutely. I would love to see the Chiefs get Kenneth Grant, so at least there's that. Like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just quickly check it out. I mean, we're going to make this super quick. I do not give a shit. Like, I haven't studied Dylan Everett. I think corner's good for the Broncos. The Giants go Tetairoa McMillan. He's my wide receiver 12. 0 separation, but the Giants could use a receiver like that. You're pretty much getting Kenny Golladay. The Cardinals end up going JT Tuimoloau. He's a fringe starter for me, just at the bottom end of fringe to developmental. So that's a good pick there for the Cardinals. You got the Patriots going Colson Loveland, top tier tight end. Perfectly fine with that. Excited to dig into that tight end class because it looks good. Bears go Ty Hamilton. He's popped off actually quite a bit to me. Very excited to be able to dig into his tape a little bit more as we get towards the full group of the defensive line class. Then we have the Titans going Caden Prather. Never heard of him. Just going to be honest. I've never heard of him. I do not think the Titans will be going after a receiver, though. You got the Texans going Jamon Dumbass Johnson, former Georgia linebacker. I feel like this is okay range to take the first linebacker or not the first because Danny Sussman went way too early, but interesting range. I did not have a very high grade on Jamon. You got the Seahawks going Jalen Milroe. This is good range for him. Great athlete, developing every single year. This is somebody that you probably want to have on your roster. Anthony Belton never surprised me at all. But again, I haven't dug too deep into the tackle class. The Saints definitely need another tackle because of the shit with Ryan Ramczyk. Tyler Booker. He's a very talented offensive lineman. When I studied the defensive interior class, the biggest winner was Tyler Booker because he did so well versus the majority of them. So I think that would be a nice 1-2 punch there. With Suo Opeta, probably not going to be there for the long haul. Emeka Ibuka goes to the Commanders. This is fine range for him. He's a fringe to developmental guy for me. So that's perfectly fine. He just had a banged up year last year. We'll see if he bounces back. The Chargers go Trevor Etienne. Oh, that's a fun running back. I'm so excited to dig into the running back class. I said it was going to be after edge, and it probably will be, but, part of me wants to go offensive line. We'll see what my gut says after that, but super excited for the running back class. Steelers go Terrence Brooks, another DB out of Texas. Didn't pop off to me as somebody who's the top of the class, but again, that's why we end up digging into all the players. Trey Henderson goes to the Raiders, probably the worst of the Ohio State running backs, but the Raiders do need to get some extra goodness in that running back core. Colts go Oscar Delp. If that's a number 4 kid, then that guy's a baller. I'm pretty sure that is. I'm just forgetting the name off the top of my head. And that would be a big addition for the Colts. The Cowboys go Montreal Johnson as well. Did they not? For some reason, I just thought they went a running back. No. Montreal Johnson's not worth it, but he's a fun, deep player in the class. Hello. Justin Wally out of Minnesota goes to the Jaguars. I did want a top-end corner for them, so that's good. Luther Burden goes to the Browns. This is good range for him because he has personality concerns, in my opinion. Does not put 100% effort all the time, but talent-wise, he is up there with the best in the class. Then we got the Panthers going Seth McLaughlin. I did not know he transferred to Ohio State. He actually dated one of my friends from college, former Bama center. I did not know that he transferred to Ohio State. That's very intriguing. But I'm very excited for that. Panthers paid a lot of money for their offensive guard, though. So I doubt that they're going to be going and drafting another one. Elijah Pritchett, tackle out of Alabama. I have not seen him play, honestly. Unless he's the left tackle. I'm forgetting if he is. I think that was like Proctor. But we'll see about that. The Bears end up going David Bailey. Super excited. He's going to be part of this video. Have not studied him yet, but this is a dude who was a stat machine last year. Barrett Carter to the Dolphins. Great range for him. Good athlete. He was better than Jeremiah Trotter. This is the good spot for him to go. Tim Keenan, defensive interior out of Alabama. Super deep interior for Alabama there. I would be very excited to see what they're going to do, but I honestly thought Tim Smith was the best defensive interior that they had. But Baltimore Ravens go Donovan Jackson, hyper athletic offensive guard who could even be an offensive tackle. Great length right there, great athleticism. I'd be a fan of that pick. Texas go Roydell Williams, transfer from Bama to Florida State. I'm going to be excited to see how they handle that at Florida State. He could be a big riser for me. Tate Ratledge, very flexible offensive lineman there going to the Green Bay Packers. That fits their MO. Jack Nelson, a little bit early for him, but very flexible offensive lineman there going to the Lions. It's always good to get depth, but probably not at 59. Smail Munden, another guy who I just wasn't a super huge fan of, going to the Bills at 60. The Bengals go Nicholas Singleton. Again, super excited to study this running back class. He's popped off to me quite a bit. That's a team that you could easily see going for a running back. Then we got the Eagles going Dylan Bell, one of the receivers that did not pop off to me out of Georgia. Then we got the Niners going Joffrey Harvey. He's a really good player. I think he's number 44. That's a very talented edge rusher right there. Good value at 63. And at 64, you got Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. I think the Chiefs are a prime target to go after a top end tight end this class. So that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching. Love y'all. See you on the far side. Peace.